Okay, the Beatles. What the fuck can you say about them? Well, we can definitely say that they are, in fact, and I think I can safely say this, the most important band in the history of modern music. And some of you might be saying, "Oh, what about, Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath or The Who or The Stones?" No, there's no argument here. The Beatles are the most important band, is the most important band in the history of modern music. The only bands that I can think of right now that come close to the influence and the importance they have in modern music are the Velvet Underground and maybe the Clash, but that's really it. The Beatles are still at the top, and how can they not be? Like, they revolutionized the idea of melodic structures, vocal harmony structures, the idea of production, concept ideas for albums. They revolutionized the idea of music movies by being part of films like A Hard Day's Night and Yellow Submarine. Even to a certain extent, films like Help and Magical Mystery Tour. And all of this happened within a decade. Some people, like I'm talking to you, Frank Ocean. Some people need 4 years to make another fucking album. These guys changed music within fucking 9 years. That's something. So because they're so revered and because they're so popular, obviously, there are two sides. There are two sides when it comes to the Beatles. And I'm not talking about the artist, I'm talking about the listeners. There are two kinds of people two kinds of perceptions of the Beatles. The first kind is extremely negative. Usually they hate the Beatles because it's either one of the three things, and maybe even more. You can easily tell me. The first one is usually that they were very overly exposed to the Beatles as a kid. Maybe their parents played the Beatles 24/7 and they just got sick of it as a kid. The second reason usually comes to a very annoying part of these people, and it's the music snobs. They just hate the Beatles because they're popular, which is easily the stupidest reason they hate the Beatles. Or maybe number three, this is the rare case. Maybe your parents loved metal music. Maybe maybe your parents hated the Beatles, and maybe they just brought that hate down to their little kids and told them, you know what, you should hate the Beatles too because the Beatles are lame. And that's the negative side. But then there are people who actually like the Beatles. They naturally found the Beatles. It was a very natural process. They found the Beatles, and I don't know, like a fucking CD rack, and the experience that they had while listening to that first CD, that first Beatles CD they bought, it just equal like the first experience, like the first time they had sex or something. I would assume, because I'm a virgin, but I would assume that the first time would be as good as listening to the Beatles for the first time, and that's definitely me. I even own some of their, oh shit, not Abbey Road. Okay, I even own some of their fucking albums, so there's a reason why I'm making a list. I have listened to their major studio albums, all of them, from Please Please Me to Let It Be. I have not listened to their archival stuff. I have listened to rare singles, but that's really it. But in my head, there are complete lyrics of more than 100 Beatles songs, so I'm pretty confident in making this list. So, and if you want to see me making more lists of Beatles songs or just other musicians in the future, like The Who, something like The Who, maybe something new like Kendrick Lamar, or maybe something as obscure as The Innocence Mission. If you want to see me make top 10 songs of certain artists or bands, go in the comments, go berserk. If I'm familiar enough with the artist, I would make a list. Now, let's get through the fucking honorable mentions first, because there are a few. The first honorable mention, let's go, just do a quick little thing. Okay, the first honorable mention, Strawberry Fields Forever. It's fucking Strawberry Fields Forever. It's one of the most revolutionary songs ever when it comes to production. It's psychedelic as fuck. John Lennon sounds like he's going crazy. It's amazing. The second honorable mention, Please Please Me. That fucking harmonica intro. That's all I'm gonna say. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's probably one of their lyrically, it's one of their most visual songs. It's one of their most detailed songs. It's just an amazing experience to just listen to. But I would love to listen to the song while high. But I can't, because marijuana is illegal in Korea for some reason. Helter Skelter, not really my favorite song off the White Album, because there's going to be a song on the list, but Helter Skelter still holds up. The only reason that song's not on this list, because there's a cover version done by Suzy Sue and the Banshees on their debut album, and I actually like that version better. And the last honorable mention, you can kill me for this, but yes, I'm going to say this, Yellow Submarine. This is a song I sing with my cousin brother. I don't give a shit. I love this song. Good memories. So done. Those are the honorable mentions. Let's get into the fucking list. Number 10 is Here Comes the Sun from Abbey Road. Now, here's the thing. George Harrison was definitely one of the most important figures in, not only in the Beatles, but in music in general. He was one hell of a songwriter, but he just wasn't the best lyricist. But with Here Comes the Sun, for some reason, that simplicity that George Harrison brings to his lyrics actually work. This song doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need to be deep. It just needs to be bright, euphoric, very positive and optimistic and anthemic. And not only does the songwriting go with those ideas, but the lyrics are simple enough for you to just hop into the atmosphere. The pure euphoria of the song will honestly just stop suicides. It's really that good. That's it. I'm just gonna skim through this list. Number 9 is While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Again, this is probably gonna be the last George Harrison song on the list. This is Harrison's shining moment still. Not only is the songwriting good on this song, but the lyrics are actually fucking amazing. Let's get to the guitar work first. This is some biblically amazing guitar work. Everybody knows the riff. Everybody knows the slide. Everybody knows when the slide's gonna come. And the gut-wrenchingly honest lyrics. This was back in the day where Eric Clapton and George Harrison was kind of fighting over this woman. And you can see where the honesty is coming from. This is easily George Harrison's best song on a lyrical level. And the harmony in the chorus is just pure Beatles. It's absolutely amazing. Number 8 is Penny Lane from Magical Mystery Tour. It's Magical Mystery Tour. Not only is it pleasant and melodic, but it's also very detailed in its lyrics. Whether it's a strange detail or a very normal detail. Whether they're talking about a barber or a policeman. Basically these visual lyrics kind of influence the entire 90s Britpop scene. Oasis took a lot from this. Blur took a whole fuck ton out of this. Pulp. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, it's Pulp, right? Fuck. The guys who did Common People, they're Pulp. Pulp took a lot from this as well. The Verb, every single big, Britpop band took these detailed lyrics from the song and just made it their own. And also, obviously, Morrissey with the song Hairdresser on Fire. It's just so obvious where the influence and the inspiration came from. Number 7 is I Am the Walrus. I love the fact that this is the middle finger song they made, but I think the reason it works and why it's not just a novelty song and why it's not just a song you can just throw away to the side for being a silly song is, I think the reason it works is because it's genuinely weird. It doesn't feel forced. The stories of the Eggman, or the pigs, flying pigs, or policemen running away, or clowns laughing, it all feels like a genuine meltdown of a song. Nothing feels forced. Everything feels naturally weird and demonic at times. And obviously the production, the psychedelic production, is beyond revolutionary. This has got to have influenced so many of the acts that, performed at Woodstock or something. And John Lennon sounds like he's just going nuts, which is the John Lennon that I love. Number 6. So far we haven't really gotten into a lot of their early work, like the pre-Rubber Soul work, the pre-getting high off on drugs and actually putting that into the music era of the Beatles. So let's do that. Number 6 is Ticket to Ride. My favorite song, honestly, from the pre-Rubber Soul era, because I love the simple lyrics. Like, literally, the first lyric that John Lennon says, "I think I'm gonna be sad." Like, he just states his emotion. But there's something about that honesty and that directness that really makes the early Beatles songs feel so, timeless. There's a timelessness to the song. It's about dreading the fact that your lover's going away. And it gets to you. Like, obviously the intro guitar lick is just some of the best one of the best intros I've ever heard. The chorus is so amazing. The harmonizing when they say I probably can't sing it. Yeah, I probably can't. It's nighttime anyway. Anyways, I'm not gonna sing the song. But like the harmonizing on the chorus is absolutely amazing. The honesty and the directness of the lyrics get to you. It's honestly just a perfect song about being fucking depressed, and it works. I think it works more so than any of their early songs. Number 5, let's get depressing right away. Number 5 is Eleanor Rigby. I just love how dark it is. It's not particularly, revolutionary in its production, although I might be mistaken. I just don't feel like, compared to most of Revolver, it's not that revolutionary. It's pretty much, outside of the string section, it's really just normal Beatles, but I love how dark the story behind the song is and how the visuals work. A woman dies from loneliness. There's a lot of dark imagery of socks and jars filled with weird stuff. A very lonely and rainy day funeral. People walking away mysteriously from graves. Strange priests. It gets to you. The dark imagery. I don't think the Beatles ever got this dark, ever, because it's so devoid of hope and devoid of happiness that it really sounds almost off-putting. And this song comes right after, the first track, Taxman from Revolver, and it's such a sudden contrast that within the context of the album, the song works way better. Number 4 would be Rain. This was the B-side of the single Paperback Writer, and I do like Paperback Writer. I think it's a very witty song, but Rain takes the cake. This was still in their Revolver era, and although the psychedelic side of them was starting to show with certain tracks, it wasn't really the majority. And considering that, this is easily one of the most psychedelic songs they have ever made. I love the fact that they just put reverb on everything. The vocals, the guitar, the drums, everything's fucking reverb. Nothing's like directly into the stereo. No, everything needs to be kind of mushed down into this weird sound. And everything, that sound really shows on the chorus where they harmonize and they just go, hey, and everything just mushes down into this really, to a certain, it sounds like a very lo-fi pop song. And I can easily see how this song influenced dozens and hundreds of lo-fi acts after this. Like, I can easily see this song influencing Neutral Milk Hotel, or The Microphones, or whatever. Like, Ariel Pink probably listened to the song to death to like, perfect his style. I can easily see that. Rain is that good. Number 3 would be Tomorrow Never Knows, which is the last track of Revolver. And the reason I put this track up so high is because when I listened to the album Revolver for the first time, when I bought it, I went home, I played it, and for some reason I was very disappointed throughout the whole album. I was I wasn't really getting a lot of revolutionary ideas from it. Like, a lot of people call this the best Beatles album or one of the greatest albums of all time. Some people even said this is the greatest album of all time. So I was just kind of being confused. Like, um, I, I like Taxman. Here, There, and Everywhere is okay. And Your Bird Can Sing. I'm sure that's all nice, but what's so revolutionary about it? Then the last track comes in. Tomorrow Never Knows. This song is fucking revolutionary as shit. The way they used, I believe it's Paul McCartney's laugh, the way they reversed and reverbed that laugh to make it sound like seagulls, the way the sirens come in, the way they reverb John Lennon's vocals, the way the song just melts down as it slowly throttles towards the end. At first it starts pretty normally, but as the song goes on, structures become loose. Everything falls apart, but it's so gloriously done. It's still catchy. Everything just mixes in. It's like they just threw every single thing they had for the last track, and it works. Everything works. For some reason, within that mush of a sound, there is a structure, there is a form, and they just keep that and go with it as if they're just punching a sandbag constantly until it breaks apart, and it's amazing. It is the last track, right? Yeah, it's the last track on. Is it gonna focus? Is it gonna focus? It is not gonna focus. Okay, fuck. It is the last track from Revolver. It's fucking amazing. You need to listen to it. And when you're listening to Revolver, if you're like me and you're just listening to Revolver and you're just thinking to yourself, well, this is nothing really special, wait till that song. Or just skip that song. It's that good. Number two, let's get into number two. Number two, this might feel like a very random choice, but number two's Nowhere Man from Rubber Soul. And here's the thing. Rubber Soul obviously has better and more famous songs. Norwegian Wood, In My Life, Girl, Michelle, all these songs are more famous. They're probably more melodically amazing. But the only reason I choose Nowhere Man, honestly, is because this song is played in my favorite scene from the movie Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine, to me, is easily one of my absolute favorite films. Top 50 easily. One of my favorite animated films. Top 5 animated films, no doubt. And in this scene, they're introducing the Nowhere Man, Jeremy Hillary Boob, PhD, and it's so gloriously drawn and so gloriously colored, and everything is so visually, stimulating, and the way the song just kicks in, and you got those psychedelically reverb guitar that comes in the middle of the song, and the whole song is done in harmony, and it's just, that scene, that's one of my favorite scenes in movie history, probably my favorite scene in animated movie history ever, like easily my top choice. It's just euphoric, it's so, I don't even know how to explain this. If you haven't seen Yellow Submarine, not only should you check it out, you should just go on YouTube, find that scene, and just watch that scene. I mean, the whole film's amazing, but if you're just gonna see one scene from the film, that's the scene I would choose. So yeah, Nowhere Man that's why it's my choice for number two. But let's get to number one. It's kind of an obvious choice, but I had to choose it. Number one's no, it's not Hey Jude. Fuck Hey Jude. I cannot stand Hey Jude. Hey Jude's overrated, in my opinion. I honestly don't see what's so great about Hey Jude. Number one is A Day in the Life. And yes, some of you Beatles fans might be going, oh, of course it's A Day in the Life. Everybody thinks A Day in the Life so amazing. And it is. It just is. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I don't care if this is a cliche choice, but this album really is just way too good to be true. It's where the Beatles kind of come together. They don't necessarily make hits, but they make a concept, and they make the concept work. The production is amazing. Every single thing about the album, lyrically, sonically, it's there's a lot of variety to it. There's some psychedelically demonic, like, meltdown shit in there. And as the album almost seems to end with the reprise of, this title track, suddenly you're just hit with these gentle piano sounds. And as John Lennon slowly comes in and sings that iconic line, I read the news today, oh boy, and everything just clicks. The reason why this song's so great is, not only is the production amazing, it's easily George Martin's best work, but the reason why it's so good is because lyrically, there is this sense of irony and this sense of cynicism in there, which is very rare for the Beatles. And that cynicism and irony really builds up, and it starts looking at things around it starts looking at their surroundings, people getting in car accidents, movie theaters, and my favorite line from the whole song is that everybody leaves after the news in this movie theater, but John Lennon's gonna stay because he's read the book and he needs to see how the film portrays that book, and that's just everything about this lyrically is so individualistic when it comes to the whole discography of the Beatles, and I just find that to be entrancing. And of course, the way it just builds up and builds up and builds up until they just decide to just destroy everything in like the last few seconds is amazing. The way they wait, they give you this moment of silence and then just random sounds and then it just ends. I love that. The album ends on a perfect note, on a perfect song, and how can I not say A Day in the Life is my favorite song from the Beatles. I've listened to this song so many times that at this point I'm kind of sick of it. But I cannot deny that it is, in fact, my favorite Beatles song. So yeah, that was my list. The camera's going to turn off real soon, so I got to finish this up. If you have any other suggestions for any other bands or artists that you want me to make a list out of, totally do that, but I honestly, sincerely think that will not happen because nobody fucking watches this channel at fucking all. We don't even have 500 subscribers, so who gives a shit? But still, that was my list. Good fucking night.